Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. They'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
Awesome. Welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast. I'm your host, Cody Kelly. If you notice, the scenery has changed. It's because I'm on the road. I'm actually headed to Atlanta. So the show is on the road. I'm going there for vacation. So right now I'm kind of in my little hotel setup, but the show must go on. So I have an amazing episode, an amazing person. But before we get into that, if you want to keep seeing amazing content, amazing leaders, and amazing influencers, you have to do two things. You have to follow me on my two favorite platforms. The first one is Cody at CBMK33. That's on Instagram. And the second one is you have to subscribe to the YouTube page below. Here is Breaker. It's Pandora. I'm still waiting to make sure my stuff is carried over to Pandora, but I'm pretty sure it's there too. We're there wherever your podcast preference is. We are there. So I have an amazing episode entitled The Bounce Back. I've had the pleasure of not only working with this gentleman, but being inspired by him. He's going to share his story because I think it resonates with a lot of people. So with that being said, Travis, how you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm feeling excited, you know. I got a little TikTok show, man. Episode, Travis, I've had the extreme honor to work with you, to listen to you in leadership meetings, to understand your story a little bit more in depthly. And I think you have an amazing journey that will help a lot of people, right? Because, life has its obstacles and opportunities, right? And it is a journey. And sometimes, it's hard to navigate through the weeds of it all, and really the areas that aren't always as clear. So with that being said, Travis, first of all, introduce yourself. And when you get done, introduce yourself. First question is, you killing now, but start us at the beginning.
Man, wow, such a question. As an interview coach, when somebody asks, so tell me about yourself. That's always the question that gets a lot of people tripped up. So that's gonna be my segue. My name is Travis Patterson, and I'm a resume writer and interview coach, PRR training consulting. 14 years in the human resources space, and I've been helping people in every step of the way in the candidate experience, the candidate journey. I'm here in Atlanta, so I can't wait till you get a taste of this. This Atlanta air, this Atlanta weather, it's really something different. It really is. You're right. It's a complete journey. I remember meeting you. I remember listening to you, and I feel the same way. Just real inspiration, and you just never know who you can learn from, and that little piece that you share can really take somebody over the line sometimes. And I feel like there's been times where I've listened to you. I was like, you know what? Let me push a little further. And I don't want to get lazy. I don't want to get complacent. As you say, like, people think I'm killing it now, but honestly, it's like, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing enough. A lot of times I feel like I'm not doing enough. And that's just because of the journey that I've been on. Getting out of high school, joining the Navy, going to college, getting married, unmarried, getting into my field in human resources, really making my stamp in my actual career within HR and build up to this nice little platform right before I started my business. And in a snap, I lost everything that I thought was the most important to me. Lost my dad, lost my new Dodge Charger at the time. I lost my fiance at the time. Everything, like my job. Like, I'm just like, If there's a place lower than this, I don't want to know it. I just don't. And I think a lot of people, go through a certain journey where they have to know thyself and be thyself. And if you don't know thyself, you don't know yourself, you'll find yourself falling into all sorts of cracks when things don't look good or they don't feel good. But in the be thyself, how do you react? How do you respond? What do you do when no one's watching? How do you manipulate the time and space around you? Because when you're excited about something, things can move really fast. When you're really sad about something, it seems like time tends to sit still, and you have this cloud under you, and you're just gloomy all the time because this is your life now. But I had to realize, just as much as people get excited about Friday, I had to do that about Monday. Just as much as people get excited about starting a job, some weird way I had to feel that way about losing my job. I was like, I lost my job. How am I going to take care of everything? But I had to shift my mindset to thinking, I have more time now. What can I do? I want to start a business. I had to think to myself, I had to think myself happy. I had to get myself out of that cloud. I had to really manipulate. I had to become a time traveler and get up out of this space where I was like, okay, I'm not going to be gloomy. I'm going to take full advantage of this time. I started my business, and I was already in HR. I was like, well, there's one thing I'm good at. I'm good at helping people get jobs. I didn't have any traditional training. It's just kind of one of those things where when you become a recruiter, you also have to learn how to write resumes. So I just started challenging myself every year. So over time, working both spaces in a career, but also my business, I've been finding a certain rhythm of my purpose that has really helped me establish not feeling like I lost much, or if anything, but more so, what do I have today? What do I have to work with today? What am I grateful for today? What can I appreciate today? And how can I show that I appreciate it? So I think sometimes that's one of my keys, especially my faith, to just be in the moment, be grateful for who I am today, what I am today, but also have that journey going forward. So I'm not getting caught up in what it used to be, because you can take an L, right?
Yeah.
When I say L, I'm not talking about a loss. You can take a lesson, from your history. But what do you do with that lesson? How do you press forward? That's the high level of
no, I like it.
What happened, where I am now, and why people are seeing me in different podcasts and different news platforms and Fox and all these different Yahoo, all these different places.
No, hey, first of all, many different things to address. First of all, sorry for the loss of your father. Thank you for your service to this country. I want to get into the mental state. You talked about, I have to be excited over Friday, just like I am over Monday, right? And I don't think, people understand what that, mental focus is. I look forward to Mondays now. I don't dread it. It's like, yes, another opportunity to show you why, right? But, when you are going through these life lessons, that's easier said than done. I can only imagine the toll, losing a loved one, losing a partner, losing a vehicle. Like, you keep getting hit in life, you might not want to jump into that ring, So what gave you the courage to keep fighting?
Well, first, being homeless is no joke, right? Me as a career guy, I'm like, I'm gonna get a job, like, no matter what. Like, people always say, like, Travis, you always got like, back then it was like, Travis, you always got a different job. I was like, I'm good at it. I'm good at getting them. But at the time, like, full transparency, keeping them. I was just like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't click. I wasn't figuring out what my career rhythm was. I was sleeping in my car, from in between interviews sometimes. Like, it was no joke. Courage. I think that when you've had a taste of looking at your destiny, feeling that purpose. Being a man of faith, I had to draw courage and energy and confidence, not from self, because I honestly didn't have. I didn't have it. I just didn't. I really had to tap into what God had given me. So I was like, okay, where am I at now? Like, what do you want me to do? I had to just say, like, what am I supposed to do now? And I don't know, just all of a sudden, like, bro, I kid you not. I had this vivid, I never forget this. I had this vivid vision when I was in the third grade. I remember it was around my birthday, and I remember walking outside just to, when the street lights come on, that's your signal to get in the house, right? When you're a child. But I just decided to sit on the porch. I remember like looking up into the sky and I felt such a warm embodiment of I'm not alone. My issues at the time of being in the third grade or any grade for that matter, or any age for that matter, there's somebody else going through the same thing, if not worse. And just kind of looking out, and I just remember feeling it in third grade. I was like, I'm meant for something.
Yeah.
Like third grade, who's thinking like that? I'm meant for something. I gotta help someone. I watched my mom and my dad serve in the church and serve in the communities. My mom was Aunt Bet to everyone in the community. Like related or not related, people knew that, this is who she is because she has such a caring heart. She served in that way. Both my parents servant leaders in their own respect. And I just always admired that. And I took on those traits at such a young age, not in a big way, but just thinking, how can I help at least one person today? And at third grade, I just felt like, okay, this is not forever. I'm meant for something higher. So when all those things happened to me but when I tell you, this was all 1 year.
Yeah.
Like all those things, there was 1 year. I was just like, I can't take another hit. I don't believe I can. I don't want to. But then I had to remember that there's nothing that can happen to me that is going to be truly sorrowful. There's nothing that can really happen to me that I'm not designed to take. So I had to remember my purpose. I also had to remember that I had to remember who I am. I had to remember whose I was. That's an old Southern term.
Who's right? Whose and whose I am. Right.
I was like, I am not my own. I belong to God. I belong to my family. I belong to the people who care about me the most. I am not about to check out of here and just cut my life off. Like I am meant for more. I know I am. And that just started creating I was just side note before I continue that. I was a complete shy person before this pivot in my life. I was a complete introvert. Not saying introvert cannot be successful because I know many of them that are. But from this point, I jumped all the way out of my comfort. I jumped all the way out of my head and started pushing through every barrier. You're not supposed to do that. We don't do that around here. Well, I will. And if you don't like it, check your SOP. Check your protocol.
That's it.
Like check the scripture, like whatever it is. Like if it's written and it's plain, you check that. I just started finding ways to fit in my own space and attracting what I was interested in, attracting this thing that I was able to see and feel, but I hadn't been there yet. I just want to sort of attracting these things in the form of people, places, not even so much things. But my courage really came from remembering who and whose and what it's supposed to be. what it's supposed to feel like. I feel like I've said a lot, but not enough. Like not about the specifics. Like I knew that I would be in a place to help a lot of people.
Right.
This is before the internet. I didn't know how it was going to look like, but I knew that I would be in a position to help a lot of people. No matter if it's interview coaching, helping people negotiate salaries, writing resumes, giving a little motivation every now and then, or just, writing different books about getting out of your space and getting to the next space, getting that next interview, being more attractive as a candidate. Another piece of motivation is, every time I think about it, let me push forward. Another piece of motivation is realizing that my parents, they raised my three sisters and myself off not even minimum wage. Like the max household income, right, in my home growing up was $12,000 a year. Sometimes it was $8,000 a year. And I didn't know this. When you're a child, you don't know, that kind of thing. But you know that you're taken care of. You know that you have what you need, and what you don't have, you don't know anything about it. So I learned to exist in that space. But as I became older, I started noticing that as a 17-year-old, I was, working at, the local retail spot. I was making more money as a 17-year-old than my parents combined. I was making more money in fifth grade temporarily than my parents combined. I was like selling candy and stuff like that. I was like, and anyway, that was the whole thing.
Look, would you say that pain creates purpose? I've noticed with anyone who really, to me, changes the narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's that dark place that they've gone through. There's that bottom, embarrassing, closed off, really hurtful encounter that has birthed this new evolution, right?
Mm.
How do you take pain and use it positively?
Well, I mean, I think pressure makes diamonds, right? And I think pain will come. I mean, it's destined. Weapons will be formed, right? But they can't come against you. So I started realizing that if you take some pain, or even fear for that matter, face everything and rise is my acronym that I like to think of, FEAR, face everything and rise. If you take pain and you turn it into purpose, the power is in the pivot. The only way, in my only experience, that you can really, truly take something that is like, okay, I'm bleeding out here. Like, what is the pivot? Like, how do I get from here? I had to think like, okay, by the third day, everything that came against me is going to fall down. Just like my Savior, right? He went through a pivot point in his life. On the third day, everything is going to change. How do I prepare myself for that moment? And I think just kind of having a deep center of the things that really make you, the things that really make you happy. Well, the things that you find that are joyful, because people can't make you happy. Things can make you happy, but you can go through things and you can feel yourself happy. You can think yourself happy. There's ways that it can be internal. There's ways that you can pivot that feeling at that moment and turn it into something that's really going to propel you in the space, because whatever you're going through, somebody else, like that little thing that felt like 100% pain, and you were able to, when you're able to get past it, and then you look back like, wow, there were worse things than that that I've gone through. That little 10% becomes somebody else's 100%. And if you get into the mindset that, I can help somebody else, not necessarily get out of their pain 100%, but if I can just be of service and help somebody just take the next step, I think little things like that tend to trigger me to let me find the lesson in this pain right now. Because one, if I come back here, I need to know how to get out, how I got here to not come back. But just in case somebody else needs to know, I need to learn how to find a path and leave a trail.
I like it.
Yes, sir.
I like it. So talk to us about what you're doing now. Well, you made some leaps, and you made some high leaps. You made some Michael Jordan James New ended and ascending, right? Not like done, ascending, right? So you've gone through this period of influx, right? And now it's like it's your season, right? Like it's your time, right? Talk to us about feeling adequate. I think some people feel they don't feel worthy. Or I think anybody who ever makes it, there's this fear that the enemy tries to put in your head, like, you don't deserve this, or that, you're an imposter, something just
right
backwards. Like, talk to us about like knowing, like, no, I was made for this, and owning the moment.
Man, so two things, right? And you really touched on it. Imposter syndrome and fear of winning are two very real things. Imposter syndrome and the fear of winning. As I was like touching on, like that little 10% or that little 1%, that crumb that you went through, that somebody else is like, oh, my whole world is about to fall down. That's somebody's 100%. How can you help them get out of that or move forward or learn from it? And then someone like, oh, you're a guru. No, I am not a guru. I'm just somebody just like you that just went through this some years ago. And like, I'm a human. I'm the human in human resources, right? Like, I don't try to be this facade of, yes, and if you fail, you are inadequate. No, that's just a lot of people in human resources will lead you to believe that, if you are a human at your job, that you are the weakest link. But that's not the case. Like, there's certain pieces of you that can become your strength. So fear of winning. A lot of people like the fear of failure. I don't want to fail. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I just might as well not do it. Well, I've been in certain places where I've experienced both, and the worst was the actual fear of winning and succeeding. I've gone in places, you're talking about leaps, and it's not about the money. It's more about access for me and comfort and security. Like, I want to provide my future wife, security. I want to have access to, like, I don't need it at all times, but I'd rather tap in when I want to. In a matter of 3 years, like I moved to Georgia from North Carolina, and this was in that pivotal moment where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to become something. I'm trying to be something. I don't know exactly what it truly is supposed to, like what the title is, but I know what the responsibility is. I know that I'm supposed to be in this position. So I left North Carolina. I found my way here in Georgia, and I don't know, people moving from different states find out the cost of living. I came to Georgia, and it costs double to live here than it did in North Carolina. So my little money that I was making back then in my business was not enough to sustain here. So I had to pick up a job. I was making minimum wage working at some place. As a grown man, I'm like, I'm better than this.
I'm better than this.
But I had to be humble.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you have to be humble.
I had to be humble. I was like, I need to get my foot in. I need to find where my space is, because I have real bills, real responsibility right now. So in a matter of 3 years, like minimum wage, like $7.25 an hour to $10 an hour to $13 an hour to $15 an hour to $18 an hour. Actually, I think I put the 10 in there by mistake. I went straight to 13 and then to 18, and then from 18 to 25 to 25 to 44, dollars an hour. And it's only because, and we're talking about the fear of success or the fear of winning. I knew that it could hurt more temporarily if I failed, but it would hurt more long term if I didn't succeed, and I would just regret, and I would just be thinking about it over and over. I should have did this. I should have did that. I could have did this. If I would have shook hands with this person, or if I would have knocked on the door at this business, if I would have just made that one additional call that day, or if I would have been able to just iron my clothes, if I would have just took an umbrella that day, instead of getting rained on and going into an interview, like if I didn't put my best foot forward at that time, I would be living in a space of regret. And I knew that there would be a longer pain where I would just be waking up to it, going to sleep on it, daydreaming in it. So pivoting in those points, really, that's how you get it. That's how you get through, is just finding your motivation, finding your pivotal points, finding your strength, and leaning on to that. Tap all the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'll add this, and don't let your foot off the gas, because sometimes you get comfortable and it's like, nah, right. I can wait. But I've got to a point now, I'm like, no, full throttle. Whatever I was doing before I got to this point, I'm only going to accelerate that.
Right.
You can't change the formula and expect the same results, right? Like you're sitting there, whatever it took to get there, that's what it's going to take to stay there. So last question. So you bounce back in every which way, right? Totally.
Can I say something about what you just said?
Go ahead.
My fiance, she had a dream it was about a year and 4 months ago. I remember. Yeah. She said, Travis, I had a dream that you were on your way up. She's saying I was in my car, but I was coming up a hill, and then my brakes went out. And she said, in the dream, everyone behind me, they had to find a way to maneuver because I was sliding back. At the time, I was like, is something happened to my brakes? Because she recently just had a dream. I told her, I really want to go to Chicago. She was like, wait, because you could, when a woman or God can tell you something and it comes into fruition, you tend to listen. Right. She was like, no, because you might get all expense paid 4 months later. No, it was like 5 months later, that January, where we worked. I had an all expense paid trip to Chicago for the whole week, and all my food and all my living, like everything was taken care of, like everything was taken care of. I was like, okay, yeah, let me just pay attention. So when she said that I was going up a hill and I was going to be sliding back, I was like, is something, is my brakes. But then as I started like really, really thinking about this, I was like, it's kind of like what you said, and step on the gas. Because if you don't, and you're on your way up to where you're supposed to be, and you think that you're coming up to a stoplight because you're supposed to be stopping, you're not. Mm-hmm. Your story is tied to someone else's journey as well, right? The door you open is not always for you. It can be for somebody that you're tied to, right? Somebody in your journey, somebody in your path. Let me introduce you to so-and-so, or hey, we're going to work together, and that may be the pivot point for them. I realized that I truly believe it, that I had gotten comfortable in that time period, and I began to slide back, and people that was supposed to be tied to me, or even myself, I was putting myself in more harm by getting too comfortable and slowing down when I'm supposed to be stepping on the gas in my business. And I got too comfortable at my job.
I get it. Trust me, I get it. I've gotten to a point now I realize, like, even when it changes and you get there, you still got to press the gas because you just don't know all the details yet, right? So you always have to kind of keep that, like I was at that hunter's mentality. Last question for you, my man. You cannot gain without loss. You cannot achieve anything without pain. But internal resolve, I always say, is the superpower to success, right? Talk to us about forgiving, because I think we live in a society where it's no, even professionally speaking, it's like you're trying to get one up on somebody. Right. I'm sure during this process, you've had to forgive people that may not have even deserved it.
100%.
Right. Talk to us about that.
Those same people, right?
Yeah.
I put myself in their shoes. Would I deserve it? Could I deserve it? Because I'm pretty sure there's things that indirectly I've done that may have hurt someone. So first and foremost, let me forgive myself for different things. Like let me take off the weights. Let me remove the anchors and all the things that's holding me back mentally from thinking that, okay, I can move forward, or I can go to another state. I don't have to stay in this small town. I don't have to stay at this job. If you're being cheated on, I don't have to stay in this relationship. I don't have to. If I'm being beat on, you don't have to stay in this relationship. Like whatever your anchor is in your life, and you don't have to be there. I'm not saying just hop around, because sometimes the strength is in the commitment.
Right.
And you will find your growth in the loyalty, and especially in that long haul. But then if my Bible says that the blessings of the Lord make one rich and add no sorrow with it, right? No sorrow with it. I think about some of the things that people really go through, and they're thinking like, oh, this is so bad. I feel so much sorrow. But did you die? Are you hurt? Like, okay, that hurt is just a feeling. That means you're still living. That means you're still in the game. Wipe off the sweat, jump back in, and find your way forward. Don't run away, find your way forward. So if I can summarize that, I would say, one, I had to forgive myself. I had to take up my weights and sometimes just cut them off. But in going forward, especially when you're trying to find your way in your career, in your relationships, I don't deserve to be here because, my ex, she said I was this way, and she said that I was verbally abusive. She said that I wasn't a good man because whatever. Or if you're a woman, like, my husband said that that I was trash, I was good for nothing, I was whatever. Or my boyfriend said this. Like, if you make moves based on what somebody said about you, and again, know whose you are, know who you are. If you make moves based on what somebody said about you, then you're only pivoting off them. You're only moving away from them instead of creating your own space, instead of creating your own lane. And your destiny may be completely in a different direction. But because you're so fixated on what he or she said about you or what they did to you, then you're only orbiting, just like a planet, you're only orbiting around them.
Right.
Instead of really finding your own complete different space in the game. So one, forgive yourself. Two, forgive them.
Right.
don't stay at your job because I really love my coworkers. Yeah, but your coworkers are not paying your bills, right? They're not taking care of your family at home. I really want to have this nice whatever, but you're so focused on, but I got to stay here in this city, in this small town, because something is here. Like somebody is here. My family is here. My high school reunion is next year.
Right.
Whatever that excuse is. Like, no. Like, forgive yourself. Forgive whoever that is, because now you're tied to them. And start looking ahead, not looking backwards. Like, I think my man in Outcast said, spaceships don't come with rearview mirrors. You just got to keep going forward. So you have to forgive. You have to forgive yourself. So you're not so you don't have your anchor pulled to your previous pain, to your previous people. You have to truly be able to move forward. You can completely shift your entire mindset, become a completely different person if you truly want to. You can go from Saul to Paul or Paul to Saul, depending on where you are in your journey. And you can, the very next day, you can think yourself happy and truly be in a place of success where people did not think that you belonged.
That's true. I love it. Look, and with that being said, I want to thank my guest. Travis has been an amazing person. Travis, where can they connect with you, man? Where can they support you, support your business, follow you? Where can they connect with you?
Absolutely. So, where was that? Right here, Travis C. Patterson.
Yeah.
And I'm Travis C. Patterson on Instagram, Facebook. You can find Travis C. Patterson on YouTube as well, but it's the Interview Accelerator, Travis C. Patterson. If you just Google Travis C. Patterson, you'll see me there. I'm on Clubhouse, Travis C. Patterson. Go and get you some. If you know about Clubhouse, go get you some. You already know what's up there. It's some good stuff up there. Some bad stuff there too. To get away from that. They'll have you up there 7 hours. You be up there at 4:00 in the morning. Like, how did I get here? Just taking in all this information.
Bro, Clubhouse. I really want to get into it. I just be like, I don't know if I just want to be talking just but 4 hours, folks, I don't even know. No, hey guys, connect with Travis. He is amazing. He is not just a rising leader, he's already there. And I always say support gets supported. And the cool thing about support, when you follow somebody, it's free. It costs you nothing to connect with them on the social media platforms. Follow them, let you know that you support them, let you know that, hey, man, I dig what you do. I think it's amazing. And if you want to keep seeing amazing influencers, content leaders, and just all around cool people, you got to subscribe to the YouTube page below at YouTube at CV Space K. That being said, I appreciate my audience. I appreciate my guests. Until next time, guys. Thanks.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You like what you saw? Were you entertained? Were you informed? You want to keep seeing amazing content? Subscribe at the link below. YouTube, CV Space K. You connect where all podcasts are streaming. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Connect with me. I want to connect with you. Let's enjoy the ride.